Sean Belegian, you asked me for Michigan to win the national championship, and I want to make sure I get the question right.
Yes.
J.J. McCarthy is going to have to not only jump up one level, but two levels of play. Can he get there?
Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, and the answer is yes, he can. When this is all said and done, Sean Belegian, to me, I think that J.J. McCarthy is going to have the greatest single season in the history of Michigan football at the quarterback position. I think J.J. McCarthy is a better athlete than anybody that has ever played quarterback at Michigan, who's got all the tools, not just the runner, not just the thrower, but he's got them both. This is the greatest quarterback, to me, in the history of Michigan football. And it's not even close what he can do on the field with his arm, with his legs. I think the problem is we haven't had to see it. Jim Harbaugh, Sharon Moore, the offensive staff have not put J.J. McCarthy in a situation that utilizes all his talents. And I think if they don't do that this year, if they don't just let him go wild, I think that will hurt Michigan's recruiting when it comes to quarterbacks, when it comes to wide receivers. If you're a wide receiver, why in the hell would you want to go to Michigan?
I'm with you there. You're
if you're
absolutely
a quarterback, why in the hell would you want to go to Michigan right now? Because, look, I'm not going to complain about winning. I'm not one of those guys that says we do too much winning. I'm tired of winning. I'm not tired of winning, but I am a little tired of the way they win a little bit. I would like to see it be more exciting. The offensive line, they're going to have 5 guys in the NFL next year. They're going to have 2, maybe first-round running backs. Why would you air it out when you've got this? It's like you've got this Rolls Royce. Why are you playing the Jaguar? You know what I mean? Why are you playing the Cadillac? You know what I mean?
I do, and I think, I look back to the TCU game in particular, where they got themselves in a position where they had to air it out. And as sometimes young quarterbacks are apt to do, he looked good at times, and then he did not look good at times. See the pick sixes. But to me, that's the biggest thing. I would need to do it. I would need to see before I got on the Michigan can win a national championship thing. I would need to see that because, again, and I don't want one human being out there to think, I'm not dogging the guy. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's a good quarterback. But boy, when you talk about going to have to knock out, and by the way, I think people are getting carried away with this a little bit this year. There's going to be 2 SEC teams and 2 Big Ten teams there. I think people are getting a little carried away with that because I think, number one, I think there are a couple ACC teams. Let's use Florida State as an example.
State.
If Florida State knocks off LSU, that first game, I love that game. Sunday night, the night before Labor Day.
Unbelievable.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
I know where I'll be.
Sign me up.
If Florida State wins that game, an already pretty hype train just goes next level.
They have to win that game.
And if they do, seriously, think about it. And then you follow that up.
Can I just say, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
That's one of the greatest things about college football. If Florida State loses to LSU, their season's over.
It might. When you're talking out of the ACC,
right,
it might.
Because, and that's the college football that I kind of miss. Right? When the one game, their first game, can end your season. Now, if LSU loses, their season is not over. Right? Because you can go on and win the SEC championship and you're going. They could probably lose 2 games and still get to the playoff.
And you get my point. I'm not sure that we can sit back here this year and say we're getting 2 Big Ten teams in or we're getting 2 SEC teams. Both conferences might only get in one. Because, I use Florida State as an example. And let's say Clemson keeps winning and knocks off Florida State. Well, then all of a sudden, the Dabo's going to go back up like that. Also, look at the pack. That Washington team is pretty damn good. You know what I'm saying? USC. Both those teams have the hype. if they keep winning and then when they meet each other, the one knocks off the other, well, then all of a sudden you might be sitting there going, okay, we might have to take an unbeaten USC or might have to take a Clemson or anything.
USC is going to be the team that falls this year, I think.
They always do.
Yeah.
USC, Texas, set your watch to it. It's almost like they always have to not live up to expectations. I think in recent years you throw A&M in there as well. So, what if it's Michael Penix in Washington? So I'm not sure that there's going to be the two teams like so many. I mean, Ryan, I'm old guys like you and I mean, the kids, they don't buy magazines.
Right.
You guys don't go out and buy magazines. When I'm getting my Geritol at CVS, there's Lindy's. I'm going to buy a copy of Lindy's. My friend Phil Steele, I'm going to buy his magazine. You guys are looking at all the shit crap online and everything. I go buy the magazine. Both these magazines have, again, the expected college football playoff, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, and obviously Georgia. And it's like, I'm not so sure that's going to be the case this year. I'm not.
Speaking of magazines, I don't remember where I saw this, but it was one of those publications, like on social media, one of the bold predictions from somebody, and I wish I saw it. It was so ridiculous, but now that you're talking about two Big Ten teams and two SEC teams, the bold prediction that this individual had was 3 Big Ten teams.
Stop it.
In the college football playoff.
Stop it.
And the scenario was Penn State beats Ohio State, Michigan beats Penn State, and Ohio State beats Michigan. And you have 3 one-loss teams in the Big Ten in a round robin. 3 teams in the top 7 of the country right now. Like, who do you choose? I
feel really good in saying this, and I have felt this way for many years.
Good
okay?
bold take, though, as far as bold predictions go.
You know what? To me, when you bring up Penn State, you are not telling the full story unless you include Coach Franklin will single-handedly lose a game during the course of the season.
At least one.
If you follow college football at all, he will single-handedly lose at least one game. So that leaves maybe Ohio State or Michigan or even a game, God forbid, down at Ford Field. I have never seen a guy make as many boneheaded decisions down the stretch as that guy does every year. And I give him credit. It wasn't easy to take over Penn State in lieu of everything that happened there, a decade ago. And he's obviously done a good job of recruiting guys there. You are not paying attention unless you acknowledge this guy has outcoached himself every year at least once. Every year. So pardon me if I don't get in on the Penn State Nittany Lion chatter.
I don't think Penn State to me is almost like a situation I just have to see it to believe it.
Yep.
I absolutely have to see it to believe it.
Yep, no doubt about it.
I want to play this soundbite for you. Jim Harbaugh talking about enthusiasm unknown to mankind. There's going to be a new decal out there, a new decal. Listen to this.
It's to the point where, and I had to make a poster person for who I thought was the most, who really defined enthusiasm unknown to mankind. And I looked at every player, every coach, even considered myself, and by the power vested in me, the new as the head coach, the poster person for enthusiasm unknown to mankind for the 2023 year is Chris Jenkins. And I made a nice little sticker, EUTM. It's now on the helmet, and he's not the only one who has it. We've given some others out. Blake Corum, J.J. McCarthy, Zach Marshall even gave one to a freshman, and a few others got that initial award. But yeah, poster person is Chris Jenkins.
So when you see the Michigan helmets this year and you look and you say, what is that sticker, EUTM? Enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Chris Jenkins, defensive lineman for the University of Michigan Wolverines. I mean, I love this. Anybody that doesn't like Michigan probably hates this.
I don't, I'm a Spartan fan. You know that. No, it's good for them. I think it adds to the experience. I don't get bogged down about stuff like that. I think it's pretty cool. Listen, you know my problem with Michigan, and I have no problem saying this to you now. And people will maybe accept this message better than they did 10 years ago because you've been winning. I had a problem for many years of Michigan telling people what they were going to do every year. Every year, this is the year. It's coming together for Rich Rod. It's coming together for Hoke, whatever the case may be.
Rich Rod could have won it.
When you do it, that's different. You're just being an idiot if you can't acknowledge it. You're being that which you detest if you can't acknowledge it. Because, yeah, as Spartan fans, did we get pissed off when people said, oh, isn't it cute you did it when the Big Ten was down? Ohio State won a national championship. What the hell are you talking about? So, that was the kind of stuff that you heard. And like I said, you're being an idiot if you can't acknowledge Michigan is at another level right now. So to the victors go the spoils. When you're winning, guess what? You can do it. You can do it.
When you look at that AP Top 25, if you had to pick 4 teams right now in your way too early college football playoff scenario, which 4 are you choosing? Do you have 4 right now that you're like, this is it. This is.
You know what? If I had to choose right now, I think the Big Ten gets the shaft out of getting 2 teams in.
Fair.
I'll say Alabama, Georgia, obviously Michigan, and you know what? Flip a coin between Florida State and Clemson.
So Florida State, to you, is that team this year? You think Florida State is going to be around for a while? So, I mean, they've got...
It could be done that first Sunday.
But I mean, look, if you look at their schedule, they've got 2 games on it. They've got LSU at home, under the lights, and then they go to Clemson.
Yep.
That's it. And that's within the first 6 weeks of the season.
Can you imagine the hype train? I mean, number one, if they beat LSU, because LSU is a lot of people's cutesy pick this year. BK's got the guys. Now he's got the system in. So there are a lot of people out there that are being cute about LSU. Could you imagine the hype train with the Seminoles and Florida State is back and all that stuff? If they knock off. That was such a cool. Do you remember that in 91?
It's just the best.
It's that Terrell Buckley.
So intimidating.
Oh, unbelievable. But that hype train will be off the hook. But like I said earlier, what if Washington, let's play a game of pretend.
Michael Penix Jr.
He's phenomenal. What if Washington goes on a run and demolishes everybody in the Pac-10, including the usually overrated USC?
Exactly. I don't know how USC will stop Washington.
That defense last year. Do you remember the? Jeez, Pete.
I mean,
awful.
I mean, they don't really play anybody either. They play USC, Utah.
I think
Oregon.
I think the Big Ten's going to get shafted this year. I don't think that they're going to get 2. I really don't.